afternoon, everyone. We are the Bouncing Blueberries, and we are here to present to you Embrace Therapy at Your Fingertips. Firstly, about our team. Tim, Oz, and myself, Jasmitha, developed the front end, while Alex and Yaphet worked on the back end, and Arnav is our instructor. Embrace is an AI-powered therapy text generator. That's what it is on the outside. But at the core of this model, we have our data set. So we used a labeled data set with questions from individuals seeking therapy. And questions covered diverse mental health concerns like anxiety, depression, relationships, self-esteem, coping mechanisms, and more. Each question corresponds to a specific user, and therapist responses are included. Therapist responses were generated using TextAvency 002 model, a variant of OpenAI's GPT-3. The dataset was designed to provide insights and guidance for people seeking mental health support. Data cleaning. The first step involved filtering out any irrelevant or low-quality data points, ensuring that only meaningful and complete information remained. Now, to prevent the model from generating offensive responses, we took great care in identifying and excluding sensitive topics from the dataset. Now, this allowed us to shield the model from potentially harmful content that could inadvertently be used during therapy sessions. Another crucial aspect we focused on was addressing potential biases, particularly related to race. We reviewed the dataset for any signs of racial or cultural biases and took immediate action to remove any problematic content. And by diversifying the dataset and including a wide range of voices and perspectives, we aimed to create a more inclusive and representative dataset for the therapy model. We also took extensive measures to avoid any NSFW content. We implemented rigorous filtering mechanisms and content checks to identify and remove any inappropriate or explicit material that could be harmful during therapy sessions. And by excluding NSFW content, we aim to create a dataset that is respectful, professional, and suitable for therapeutic use. This way, we could ensure that the model's responses remain supportive, empathetic, and focused on promoting mental well-being without any potential risks associated with inappropriate content. So that's about data cleaning. Next, Yaphet will speak about tech stack and progression.
So here's our tech stack from beginning to end of our project. Our model is GPT-Neo, which is a natural language model that's already pre-trained on the English language. And we basically built and trained our model using Google Colab with Python. The libraries we used were examples like such as NLTK, PyTorch, Pandas, NumPy, and Matplotlib. On the front end, we use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and we use a Bootstrap template for CSS, specifically just for ease of use and like coherent design on our website. And in the back end, we use a Flask framework for Python, and we also use the Hugging Face API. So this is basically our 3-week progression. In our first week, we focus on data selection and preparation for the model. We basically learned Python and implemented Pandas for data manipulation. We used Kaggle to find all our Q&A therapy responses and data. And then we filter and clean out the data for explicit inappropriate content, as Jazz said earlier. And then moving on to the second week of training and pre-processing, we formatted data for the model as a TXT. And then after tokenizing using GPT-Neo, we also use GPT-Neo to train the model to focus on parameters like learning rate, batch size, and epochs. And then for testing and generation, we fine-tune parameters like length, temperature, and repetition penalty to get coherent and human-sounding responses from the therapy model. And then finally, we published the model to Hugging Face once we were satisfied with the model. And in our third week, which is this week, as I explained earlier, on the front end, we utilize HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for web development. And for the back end, we utilize the Flask framework to process input from the model using the Hugging Face API. And then we finally integrated front end and back end and presented the output from the Hugging Face model published there onto our websites for the user to see. Next, we have Tim with challenges and experiences.
So for challenges within pre-processing, we had to review and edit our data set, basically just to remove any explicit content that didn't align with our ideal audience. Additionally, in training and testing, we struggled with our model's inability to maintain conversational communication. We wanted to create helpful responses that were coherent and not overly repetitive, but were also related to the situation. And we also struggled to optimize important parameters like temperature, repetition penalty, and others. Within website building, We struggled to create a visually pleasing but also efficient and intuitive front end, while we struggled on the back end to produce a response that didn't like reload the window. For experiences, we learned the basics of AI and the logic behind NLP. We also gained experience finding useful data sets. We understood the importance of cleaning and organizing data sets. We gained experience pre-processing and training the model. We also learned the basics of web design, designed a visually pleasing and user-friendly front end, and we connected it to an efficient backend. And lastly, we gained important life skills such as presenting and public speaking skills, learn the values of teamwork, and build valuable connections. Thank you. And now I'll have Alex present the model.
Okay, so here's the website for our model. Here's our lovely logo right here. And then the name of our model, Embrace. And then the name of our team, the Bouncing Blueberries. So let's head over to the showcase. So here is our motto for the model, which is therapy at your fingertips, which represents how you can get simple therapeutic responses easily from for asking mental health questions. So let's take a look at some of the examples. First, we have dealing with anxiety. Given this prompt, the model gave this output. This can be done by taking a number of different steps. First, try to focus on the task at hand and to identify what is causing anxiety. Second, try to get unstuck in a relaxed environment and focus on the task at hand. Finally, try to communicate your thoughts and feelings to others. This can help to boost your mood and reduce stress levels. And this can help to reduce anxiety levels and improve your overall quality of life. So that is the example output for the dealing with anxiety prompt. Let's take a look at another prompt. For this prompt, the user typed on depression to get a depression-related therapeutic response. And this is the output that the model gave. It can be difficult to cope when you're feeling depressed, especially if it's a symptom of anxiety or stress. However, there are some things that may help you to deal with your depression. And then it went on to list some things. First, identify the source of your depression. Talk to others about how you feel. Connecting with loved ones can provide support and reassurance, and things like that. So those are the examples of simple therapeutic responses given by the model. Let's go to the about section. So like stated before, Embrace is an AI NLP model based on GPT-Neo, and it was trained on the response side of a Q&A data set between where users ask questions to another therapy AI bot. And we specifically only use the responses from the data set and not the questions. The goal of this AI is to comfort users with a simple therapeutic response given a mental health question. To use the model, which we're going to do a second, you simply just type in your mental health question into a text box and click the generate button. A disclaimer is that this model should not be used in place of an actual mental health professional, as its goal is just to give simple therapeutic responses to mental health questions and not to be confused with a trained therapist who would be way better at working through it with you. So let's try out our model. I'm going to ask it the question, how do I deal with anxiety? And then we're going to generate a response. All right, so here's the response. The model says, it sounds like you're feeling a lot of stress and anxiety. If you feel like your mind is not functioning properly, it may be time to seek professional help. There are many ways to cope with stress and anxiety, but one thing that can be done when dealing with these conditions is to find healthy coping mechanisms. One way to start is by seeking out support from friends or family members. This means talking to someone who understands what you're going through and helps you to understand how you're going about things. Additionally, there are some things that can make you happy. You can try to focus on the positive aspects of life and the good things in your life, and you can also try to take advantage of opportunities. So this is an example therapeutic response to the question I just inputted. And it fulfills the goal of our model because it's just that, a simple therapeutic response to a mental health question. it's not trying to replace a mental health professional. The ultimate goal is that it's letting you know that there are options available to you, and your question about mental health is not just a dead end. And ultimately, it's to give a simple yet meaningful hope to the user, so that they may pursue actual avenues, such as talking to a mental health professional. And that is our presentation. Thank you everyone for listening.